Right now, there are actually about 30 horses on the fairgrounds. You can see their pens behind me.
What are you doing to curb that if you voted against both of those things?
The fraternity says they have removed the accused member from the organization and self-reported to the university. He says the focus for his team during this election cycle was winning over voters in Lancaster County because they feel like they underperformed there during the special election in June. With the accumulation at 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour, it's been pretty hard to keep up with on the county's 1,400 miles of roads. Police are still investigating a homicide from early this morning. We are tracking down details into an accident at Antelope Valley Parkway and O Street tonight. This 2-alarm house fire caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage and displaced 2 people this morning in central Lincoln. Nebraska football's defensive coordinator Eric Chenander was relieved from his job today by interim head coach Mickey Joseph. You are asked to evacuate and you're asked to go to Southwest High School. The top high school football player in Nebraska chooses the home state Huskers. Malachi Coleman commits today, picking Nebraska over several D1 programs. I'm gonna pretend like I understood what you just said. Thank you, Eddie. Bill Kelsey, Felipe Vasquez was emotionless as he received a sentence of 7 decades behind bars. The family says this sentence is exactly what he deserves. Herrera's daughter, Adelina, who's about the same age as Vasquez, addressed the court today. She told him he does not get a pass for his age. 2 months ago, Vasquez was convicted of killing investigator Herrera. He fired a round while trying to escape arrest in August of 2020. Herrera died days later in the hospital. Vasquez was convicted on 7 charges altogether. After calculating the total sentence, the judge says the minimum amount of time Vasquez will spend behind bars is 71 years, minus about 2 years for time already served, so 69 years. Vasquez would be 88 years old at that point. The court says Vasquez will start his sentence at an Omaha facility and stay there until he turns 21, when he will then be transferred to Tecumseh. Cole Kelsey, the Lancaster County Event Center opened their doors to evacuated animals last night. Right now, there are actually about 30 horses on the fairgrounds. You can see their pens behind me. It's a great example of people stepping up to do what they can to give animals big and small a home. Jen Friend was on a drive back from Kansas when she got the message. Help was needed evacuating animals from yesterday's wildfires.
That gets crazy and unpredictable fast. So that part was scary. You're constantly watching where the fire line is. I don't know. The priority was the dogs, right? You just do what you got to do.
She was part of a team that rescued more than a dozen German Shepherds and other animals from southwestern Lancaster County.
I was just grabbing dogs.
While Jen got the call yesterday, Tim Curtis's phone went off today.
We weren't directly impacted other than the frustration of, what am I going to do if I go down there? It's too far to go with a tractor and a disc, and I'm sure there were plenty of them there already. Just kind of hung back and waited for him to say what, if anything, we could do.
Tim had 80 bales of hay that were sitting in a truck out in Milford. This morning he got the word that hay could make a difference.
We all need to do whatever we can when we can, and the opportunity presented itself, so we said, okay, here we go.
Here's a look at the rescue by the numbers. 12 different people brought 30 horses to the fairgrounds. A handful of volunteers rescued more than a dozen dogs and several cats. Right now, 11 of those dogs are at the Capitol Humane Society. For Jen, she says she didn't think twice about stepping up to help.
You see animals who didn't make it. It just makes it that much more important to give every other living thing a chance.
About 5 horses are expected to return home tomorrow, and I did speak with the Capitol Humane Society, and they expect the dog's owner to pick them up as soon as tomorrow. This is a familiar scene if you have ever been to Baker's Candies in Greenwood. Bags of color-coded candy, but what you don't see is the production side working overtime to pump out thousands of pounds of chocolate each day before the holidays. This chocolate goes through quite the journey to get to you.
10 pounds of chocolate.
From the hot room where it's melted and combined with cocoa butter to the production line where it's poured, cooled, cut, covered in more chocolate, and eventually wrapped. Almost 3,000 pounds of chocolate will be made today.
We're running these production lines as hard as we possibly can, knowing that every single piece of chocolate that we can possibly produce from now through Christmas is already essentially sold.
This is what the holiday season looks like at Baker's Candies.
We make about 20 to 25 totes a day of chocolate.
And the logistics of keeping the chocolate pouring can be anything but sweet. Essentials like sugar, milk, and even fuel cost more now. And of course, there's cocoa. It can only grow within 10 degrees of the equator, meaning it has to be imported.
In the last year, that's been probably the most difficult part of our job, is sourcing ingredients and getting it from the port to our factory. We're about as far from a port as you can possibly get here in Greenwood.
Still, CEO Todd Baker seems to have the recipe for optimism. The chocolate factory expected to take a big hit during COVID, but didn't. The company is expecting to sell 50 million melt-away candies this year alone.
In the end, what we found out is that our customers were more than just customers. They were really fans of the products that we make here.
For the next couple of weeks, everyone here will be hard at work to make sure you can have and gift your melt-aways.
Doesn't matter what you make here, whether it's our orange salad dressing or our red hot dog or our oven stuffed sandwich. Nebraskans are definitely loyal to the things that are made here.
Workers here on the retail side of things say they've seen more people come in earlier than in years past, and they expect the traffic to stay that way through Christmas. Reporting in Greenwood, Madison Pitsch, 1011 Now. Tonight on 1011 Now, grass fires get out of control in southern Lancaster County. The massive effort to contain them. That is our top story on 1011 Now at 10. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Madison Pitsch. We will start with the good news. As of about 9 this evening, Lancaster County Emergency Management says the 2 wildfires burning in the county are under control and not spreading. They're confined to an area bordered by Southwest 86 to Southwest 100th and Panama Road to Apple Road, which is the Kramer area down to Clatonia. Firefighters from 18 agencies are involved in putting out the blaze. The public is advised to avoid the area. Any displaced residents should not return home this evening. The Monday morning media briefing at the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office will have a status update and additional information. As of about 6 p.m., we're told that 3 residences have been destroyed and 2 firefighters were hurt. We don't know which agencies they're from. One has serious injuries, the other has minor injuries. To give you an idea just what firefighters were fighting, several fires were observable by radar. At 2:45 this afternoon, we could see fires west of Wilbur, east of Crete, and northeast of Cortland. By 6 p.m., they could no longer be seen on radar. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office gave us a clearer timeline of events. At 2:44 p.m., Hallam Fire requested help evacuating people in the path of the fire. At 2:56 p.m., grass fires were reported near Firth and near Southwest 86 and West Gage Road. Both were moving rapidly. At 3:55 p.m., multiple fires were observable on radar. At 6 p.m., the fire near Firth was contained. At the same time, the Emergency Management Operations Center was activated and the Lancaster County Board issued an emergency declaration. There are several things to know about this fire. 3 homes in the area have been destroyed. 2 firefighters were injured. 1 was seriously hurt and another suffered minor injuries. Currently, we do not know more on their conditions or what organizations they were with. Evacuees were able to go to Lincoln Southwest High School if they needed. We called out there around 9 this evening and learned that the center was being shut down. And the Lancaster County Event Center volunteered to take in displaced animals for the time being. At last check, there were 30 horses staying at the fairgrounds, with some more still on the way. In addition, Norris High School is having a 2-hour late start tomorrow, October 24th. There will be no morning preschool or activities. Buses will run routes as able, but will not be picking up at alternate locations. Now, if you are unable to attend school because of these fires, you can call the school office. Saline County also had a wildfire today. It started around 2:30 p.m. in Swanton and raced north. According to early estimates, the fire's size was about 3 miles wide and at least 5 miles long. As of 9 p.m., the county's emergency manager says the fire is contained, but crews are still working on hot spots. There were no immediate reports of structural damage and no one was hurt. Residents were evacuated for a period of time, but they have since been able to go back home. The cause of the fire is still unknown. And some brave farmers got awfully close to the action tonight to try to help contain the fires. These are a couple videos sent from viewers. Some farmers started plowing strips of their fields to try to limit the spread of the fire. Turning over the soil buries the vegetation and makes it harder for the fire to go through that strip.